to Ryan, the excluded middle, coming at you from the, oh man, I'm about to sit back. The bunker, coming at you from the bunker. Down under.
I feel like we could go back to the back shack.
I know, man. We probably could. We probably could. No one would even say anything, man. I don't even know if anyone's living there yet.
Anymore.
I know. It sounded like there was somebody that moved in, and then talking to our old friend, it sounded like they already moved out, so it could be vacant. We could just sneak in there and
I know.
Or maybe we just rent the back shack.
So,
but of course, then all our stuff's there, and we'd have to transport it because I wouldn't trust nobody else with all our equipment.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. I mean, between the neighborhood watch that's pretty good there, and the simple fact of that backyard is a disaster zone with weird stuff.
And of course, yeah, they'd probably spend most of their time in that bus back there. Then they'd work back into that other little shack, and then by the time they made it to the actual back shack, it'd be over.
Yeah,
be over. Probably.
They'd already have tetanus and die.
Yeah, 'cause there's so much you could just get lost in back there, man.
So this is totally. I mean, I don't even know what we're going to talk about tonight. I've had a weird day. It's been a weird week since we've been on here last. It's been over a week.
Has it been a week?
Yeah.
Over a week.
We got on here last Sunday, and I posted it on Tuesday or Wednesday. And are you having troubles there?
No, I got it now.
Anyways,
forgot that was my job now.
So I know you have one job. Let's push that one button over there and tighten your mic.
That's two jobs, but anyways.
Look pretty. Three jobs, dude.
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't wear your sunglasses.
I know, man. I forgot them, dude.
It's almost weird for me.
Dude, well, I'll tell you what, man. I mean, I you know, like, here's my day, man. I woke up this morning. Boom. I've been running in the morning, like I said on the last show. Woke up, knocked out like a 5K. I guess I hit a 5K this morning right off the gate.
Yeah.
Come home and off to work, and then got off work, got on the bicycle, hit some miles on the bike. Then I did another 5K with the Hutch Run Club, which is kind of cool. It's every Monday, so I go run with them.
I like that.
Yeah, and dude, man, anyways, it's hot out and humid, dude. So I hit that.
It's stickier.
Dude, it's like no air.
Grief.
I mean, take the life out of you out there. So then I'm knocking out. Dude, check this out. I ran a faster 5K this morning than I did this afternoon.
Yeah.
And I think I ran an 8:15 this morning pace, and then I ran like an 8:28. My heart rate this morning, I think, was like around 148 or something, 147 average. I ran tonight. Dude, I think my average was like 178 or something. Yeah. That's just how big of a difference it was. And then I hit that. I immediately get back on the bike, hit some more miles in, and then I go by the gym, hit some weights, and then hit the bike again on the way home, and then now I'm here, man.
Not terrible.
So I mean, I'm beat up and used and abused. Oh, dude, that feels so much better now.
Yeah, so we got to have some hair down here.
Oh yeah, dude, I feel that. I feel that.
Oh, fresh air vent.
The coolness. But anyways, Ryan, back to you, sir.
This is how fast my brain is just not where it should be. Okay. And maybe I need to run, but I hate it. But
I do too, man. I still do it.
For a little while, I really thought the move was a terrible decision. After the fact, I wasn't happy about it because I hate moving. But it was like, as we're doing it, things just seem to be crumbling. Lots of things, you know what I mean? And then it kind of like culminated. We moved in, and for the house, the AC wasn't working great. So it was hot constantly. So we lived in the other part of the bunker. And it's nice and cool down here without AC, so I don't have to worry about it. But then Trisha wrecked her truck. And then trying to buy a new vehicle and all these things, and work was sucking and life was sucking. And I think it's well, maybe it's just my human nature to go back and be like, all right, where'd I screw up at here, God? Are you teaching me a lesson, or are the burdens because of the blessings, because of the opportunities that it opens up, and Satan's already getting me? And so I think that it puts you in a spot, for me, this is, I guess, my opinion, of questioning things. Then it immediately puts me in the spot of work out your salvation with fear and trembling, right?
That's what I was just thinking, like fear,
So is it
worry,
necessary?
anxiety. Yeah.
I don't know necessarily that I had fear. I don't know. I mean, I do
Maybe worry.
vocalize that I do have fear. Anxiety I have. I will readily admit that, and I believe it's straight from the devil that I have it. Okay. Even to work this morning, I was sitting in the car. I sat in my car for 25 minutes before I went in. Now, I was on the clock, don't get me wrong, because I had full intention of going in. If I didn't have intention of going in, I wouldn't not even drove there. So I called Trisha, and I said, I'm having a lot of trouble getting in the door. And she's like, just sit in your car, just chill out. You're going to be fine. I'm going to pray for you. And I don't know, about 5 minutes later, I go inside and I actually had a really, really good day at work. It was fast paced and a lot of craziness going on, but all in all, it was a really, really good day. So I get home and I talk to Trisha about it, and she's like, well, I prayed for you. And the only answer I have for that immediate rush of go inside, dummy, was because she prayed,
Yeah, I was
right?
gonna say that's that prayer.
I love how that works. I do absolutely love it. But back to the original point, like, did I make a bad decision? Was I not prayerfully considering everything? Was I not grateful for what I already had? So many things went through my mind. Now, on the other side of that, I absolutely loved the house we were in. I loved the property. I loved that within walking distance, we had the back shack. Within walking distance, I had a great neighbor that fed me farm eggs and homegrown vegetables.
Yeah.
And I'm not angry at any of my neighbors. I just don't know them, and I don't know that I ever will know them like I knew my neighbors over there on the other side of town. But still, back to their main point. I mean, I couldn't stay there in that spot very long, thinking that. I had to really dig, but still, it was a thought in my mind, like, did I and allow my family to make the wrong choice? Did I not prayerfully consider it? And even if I did, let's say I did, was I listening to the right voice? Because you got this little voice over here.
Yeah, well,
you have this little voice over here that's saying,
discernment's key with any decision, man. And sometimes it does get
the
tough.
house is bigger, it's nicer.
Ego starts stepping in a little bit. Yeah.
People think you're doing good in life, jerky. All the things that I really don't give a crap about.
Right.
I've never been worrying about what the Joneses have. I mean, I've spent most of my life living in a trailer, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm quite okay with that, quite comfortable with that. But then on the other side, there wasn't a lot of expectation. Like, people would be like, oh, where do you live? Oh, I live in the mobile home park. And they're like, oh. One of those people.
The judgment. Quick. Yeah.
When someone says they live in a mobile home park, I'm like, there's my people. But if they say they live in the Highlands, there's my people.
Yeah.
I just don't care about that.
And you shouldn't, man. And you shouldn't.
I think the state of the world makes us do that.
I think so too.
I think it's the wrong voice telling us that.
Yeah. I think when you're making choices, like, are you doing it in your own will and for your own selfish reasoning? That's things you have to weigh and consider. You know what I mean? And sometimes those voices get pretty loud and can be quite convincing in the moments.
Oh, sure can.
Oh, man.
That's why I say, I need a burning bush.
Man.
I need a burning bush.
Just to make a move. I need a burning bush. You're not going to get a burning bush every move you make.
Can you send one of those planes with a message behind it?
I guess you could say just smack me, but maybe you're getting smacked. But smack me before I make the move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can you send someone with a prophetic word for me, specifically for me? And I believe it happens. I have a good friend. I've known her for years. She's an older lady, and she was on a motorcycle ride, and I'm probably going to screw this all up because that's what happens. I hear so many testimonies on stuff. But so she pulled into a gas station with her two friends that are retired. They all decided to get Harley Davidsons and ride to Sturgis from Hutchinson. So she went in this different driveway because she couldn't get slowed down as fast as they could. She was the last bike. So she goes to the second driveway. She pulls and just parks over there. And there's like a guy sitting at a picnic table. And she gets off her bike, and he kind of looks up at her, and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?" And so she's like, not the type to be scared of anybody. She probably had 3 or 4 pistols with her. She was a prison guard for like 40 years in Supermax area. So sure, yeah, what do you got? What's up? So she's like, got her hand inside of her saddlebag on her bike, and the guy comes up and he says, "I've been waiting for you." And she said, "Okay, what? Like, I'm not even from the area. I'm 3 states away." He said, "God gave me a vision that told me to come sit at this picnic table." And he said 3 people on motorcycles would pull up. 2 would pull in one driveway, 1 would pull in the other. And she's like, this, in her head, she's like, "This dude is psycho, like she's really got a tight grip on her gun." And then, and I can't remember, it had a lot to do with some major life decisions, but he knew specifically what that decision was and explained it to her in full detail.
Dang.
And then said, "This is what you're to do."
Dang.
Okay.
Wow.
Now she gets back on her bike and ends up wrecking it. Right. Has nothing to do with that. But I think part of it is like her head was just so,
just
and
overwhelmed.
She was just kind of starting her walk with God again.
Oh.
Okay? So she goes to Sturgis, has a great time, leaves her motorcycle in, I don't even know where Sturgis is. It's in Dakota.
It's in Dakota somewhere.
Somewhere. Yeah. Not my people.
I know too.
Yeah. Anyways.
He said, "Not my people."
Yeah. Left it up there and came back home and weighed the options, and then was not going to exactly do what that guy had said, because she had like these 2. And so her life started getting difficult. And then she had told her pastor friend. And so she goes back to him, and telling him, "I'm struggling." He goes, "Well, why didn't you do what that crazy guy at the picnic table said?" Yeah. And so she did that. And since then, dude, and she's in her 70s.
Then it was good.
Better than good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
she moved as directed.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people, get on YouTube and watch all these prophetic words and
they're everywhere, man. That becomes a struggle
even at this low area of discernment where she was just starting to go back to church, renew her relationship with Christ, there's this random looking homeless bum on a park bench somewhere in South Dakota.
That's awesome, man. I love those stories.
And she said what got her was the specifics. Like, he knew she was a prison guard.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. That gets a little in depth right there.
Oh yeah. And so I could go on, and sometime we'll have to just have Cheryl on here, because she has such
good story.
She has such an amazing testimony.
Oh, I bet.
That part's amazing, but just her life walk and the difficulties she struggled through. I met her like in 2006 when I first moved to Haven. She had a little hamburger stand in a trailer.
Oh, that's cool. And like a little food truck.
It was my second job, and I love to cook.
Yeah.
And so I went and talked to her, and I said, "Hey, I can be here at 5:15 every night." She's like, "Well, I work for the city." Okay. So I start talking to her, and she did so much for my family, so much for us. And then random times I'd have these encounters with her. I could go on, dude. The story of the prophetic stuff is great, but her living miracle with the doctor's notes to prove it is the best part, bar none. And I can't even hardly just even mention it. I'm already ready to cry.
Right.
Because it's powerful. And she has a doctor's
documentation.
Note. Yeah. And even the doctor's like, I don't know what to tell you, but that's what people call a miracle.
Yeah. Like,
she was going to have some heart surgery, and they went in to do the surgery. All the tests were bad. They go in the day to do it, and they couldn't find anything wrong.
Wow.
Not a thing.
They went in to do it.
20 years ago.
They cut her open, in fact? Oh, dang.
Well, they came in through her hip. They were putting some stents and stuff in and blowing some arteries.
And everything looked good.
So a long time ago, she had stents put in. They removed those stents. And then over the next 20 years, whatever, it had digressed, or I think regressed to bad. So they said not only was her heart in those areas healed. They could literally go back and see the pictures from before. They were better than a 70-year-old should have been.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
Now, of course, on the other side of that is when I had been real sick, and I was like, why not me?
Yeah.
Why
selfish.
Cheryl and not me?
What have I done?
We prayed for a guy that had leukemia on a Tuesday, and he came back the next Tuesday, and there was no signs of leukemia. And I was happy. And the first thought I had, though, was, why not me? You know?
Yeah.
And then once the miracle happens, now I'm like, why me? Now I feel like there's this expectation, you know? How stupid am I sometimes? I'm just being
classic,
honest.
man. Classic, right?
That's why I stay in the bunker, bro.
Yeah, I don't know, and I can't really speak to it. That'll be between you and you make your moves. But I mean, the move's already been made,
Yeah.
so it's not like you can backtrack on that. And all you have to do is begin to progress and move forward in your situation. And I wouldn't have that anxiety, the fear, the worry. If you're having those, I mean, that's not of God right there.
No,
in
I
itself.
know it. I know
And that
it.
would be enemy for sure. So I would just say, stand strong, keep the faith, man, and keep moving, pressing, man, move forward.
Yeah.
And work with the cards you got and play the best you can, man. Do the best you can.
Yeah.
That's always.
I
That's what I would say,
I
man.
think there's healthy anxiety and healthy fear, right? Healthy fear says don't stand on the edge of a cliff because you're clumsy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think that's a healthy fear.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
As
yeah.
I'm walking to the cliff, I'm having anxiety because
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like I can't understand sometimes the battle, even though it's clearly outlined in the book.
I know. I was thinking about that. I mean, we're kind of maybe drift off here, but on a different subject. But kind of, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
But it's still kind of in line with that because I've been sitting here thinking too, like as a believer, as a follower of Christ, you know what I mean, and an avid believer for sure. Don't question it at all, And faith is strong there, and I see what's coming, and as it's been written, and I just look at the state of the world and where we're going. And you see so much, man, and just on the influencers, like you're saying. I think we were talking about that, just on like the influencers, the people that are discussing, and just the manipulation that I hear just from those individuals alone. And then you get into, like you're saying, that anxiety, that fear, and they seem to just like push that on, to an extent. And it's just like, man, I don't see. It just kind of, you just start going to end times, man. I don't want to go there with it, but it's like,
But that is what it seems. I kind of believe the end time started at Pentecost.
yeah, and it's just
Things were
progressed.
going into motion, and
Yeah.
maybe even at the cross when the veil's torn and the dead were walking to prove the points, and raising Lazarus wasn't enough, even though everybody knew about it. So all those things are set in motion. I don't have a fear of those things.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know, but I can't. I don't know. I can't speculate.
I almost like how I see that, Ryan. It's like I've studied the Bible. I've read the Bible. I read the Word. You know what I mean? I need to do better at it. We were discussing.
just
I need to
talking
jump back in that a little bit
I
more
love
stronger.
that we both were having conviction at the same time.
For real.
I think that's good, though.
But I do too. But at the same time, throughout the years, I've been a fluent reader of the Word.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Word's written in us, and it's just like I see that, and I see that just coming alive, and I see what's been written, and things that the things you need to watch out for and look for and see, and just know that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like just that right there alone gives me a peace and almost an understanding.
Yeah.
And just a stronger faith in my belief because
It's because things that are written are
it's
happening. So it's like,
I really don't fear that. But then you look around and you see so much, and everyone's just like, I wouldn't say everyone, but you just see so much chaos and just people just high levels of anxiety, like you said, of stress
and
it's just-
unhappy.
and unhappiness. I wouldn't even, unhappiness. I mean, I have moments of unhappy too, but I say a lack of joy.
Yeah.
I would put it to a lack of joy because I think
Well,
I
it
can.
is.
Yeah.
This is the.
I see what you're saying there. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's times where I have a lack of lots of things. Discipline mostly, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And I really it's part of my battle. It's part of like that affliction, that sin affliction that I have, of that reminder of why I need saved. why I need a savior, why I got to do this routine of things and be at least disciplined in that fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, it just gets to a point. Sometimes I feel like I don't know how to understand my own emotions. So in my previous life, I was either happy or angry. If I wasn't anything else. If something happened that would cause a normal person grief, I was just angry.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know that I would really go through the stages of grief, which I couldn't even list them off. But I mean, there's like 4 or 5 stages of grief. Mine was anger. And so
And anger,
that's how I live my life.
and anger being a secondary emotion, really. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
It's like
yeah.
a cover. So
No, it is.
yeah. So that would make sense why you would just go to anger automatically. You know what I mean?
Well, it's easy too, and I'm quite comfortable
That's
being
what
angry.
I mean. Yeah.
It's almost
You
like
don't have to deal with it. You're just like, I'm mad.
yeah, well, that, and I'm a big enough guy, like people would just stay away from me,
that's
and
what I mean.
and
yeah, they gonna mess with you.
yeah,
man.
and it was like fuel, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Then it becomes a habit. You know what I mean? Then it becomes just like the go-to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's easy to trigger that. It's like a triggered response. Boom. Automatic.
So even now, it's just like
And then-
stupid things.
Like we're getting totally off subject, man.
What is our subject?
I don't know. We just
Life?
chat. Yeah, really, because then I sit here and think about it. Like I used to do that too. You would snap to that anger, automatically. And well, then that anger would allow you to isolate,
Yeah,
push people away. And then at that point, you're like, oh, F the world or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you go right into then later on, you would start moving into more of your addictive behavior.
Absolutely.
I would, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you start masking those. Yeah, first you hit it with the anger, and then boom, then you go right to like a substance or something like that, and you're trying to basically, find peace and a cover up of something that we could have had the entire time,
Sometimes
man.
I was just looking
You
for
just
an
chose-
excuse to
yeah,
find that substance,
yeah.
but
Yeah, so I mean, you just trigger in responses, man.
oh, it is.
So I think it just takes, I don't know, took time to kind of sort that out and figure that out, and
Yeah.
kind of be patient with it, man.
When I'm angry, I clean. I know that sounds weird. Years ago, I was cleaning the shop. This is like 2008, almost 20 years ago. I was cleaning the
Yeah.
shop, and my boss walks in. He's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm cleaning." He's like, "You've worked here 18 months. Never seen you do this before." And I said, "Nah, I'm mad. I'm mad." And he's like, "Well, what happened?" And I told him, over lunch what had happened. This argument with my kids' mom and stuff. And he goes, "Huh? I'm gonna call her every morning and have her piss you
I
off."
was gonna say, come on over to my house. I'll piss you off real quick. Get my house cleaned up.
By the end of the week, that whole shop was clean, dude.
Yeah.
I had stuff labeled.
Oh, for sure. My garage needs cleaned, man. Come over.
Well, Saturday morning, let me tell you a little story. Saturday morning, I got up and I cleaned the kitchen, and Trisha made a comment about it. I said, well, I was angry, and she knew exactly why. But she's like, "Huh? You clean when you're angry?" And I don't clean often, so that means I'm not as angry as I used to be.
Yeah, that's good, man.
But
That's good.
but yeah, I don't know. I have such a low tolerance for people's BS,
Yeah.
and I really I mean, there's times in my life where I put on a front and it's fake. I get it, but I don't know. I feel like I've worked through that to a point where I used to appreciate people that could fake it well, and now I can't stand it.
Yeah, I like authenticity, man.
I do too. Well, there's truth in authenticity, and fake's a lie. And I yeah, I don't know, but just the fake people that I encounter on a daily basis make it very difficult for me to love my enemy. And to overcome that. Now, there again, I don't particularly anymore in my life like to be angry. I don't like it. I think it's acceptable that we're going to be angered, but the book says don't let
Don't
let your sun go down on.
That would be part of the fruit. You know what I mean? You're just seeing fruits. You're seeing a fruit of the spirit there, man. Slow to anger. So you're just being more indwelled with the spirit, I would say, at that point.
Oh,
That's why
yeah,
you don't
I
get as
agree.
angry. I mean, I get you get angry, but you're slow to anger, I would
And
say.
part of it is probably misidentifying my true emotion. I think frustration and anger are two different things.
Yeah.
So, am I frustrated and not able to overcome that part, and then the next step's anger? Highly likely. But at the same time, it's just like just social media or in person or whatever it is. People's true natures are revealed by reading in between the lines. Yeah. Now, there's blatant ones, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I'm not disputing that. But there's shifty, crafty people out
thinking
there.
Of stuff right now that's frustrating me, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my goodness.
I want to get on here, and we can sometimes go 2 hours, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I have to think it's the screenshot you sent me earlier today.
Yeah, well, that one, I wouldn't say so much that. I mean, I kind of get that one. The one that's getting me right now that's really frustrating is that I got this guy, man, and he thinks he's Jesus Christ.
Oh.
And then again, we can go right back to that would be another sign of end times. You know what I mean? And I remember when I was younger, I remember reading that, and I still remember reading that, and it'd be like, people will say that they're me, they're Jesus. Yeah. And, and just know that I have not come. You know what I mean? Because you'll know. And so I see when I remember when I was younger, I was like, how is that even, I couldn't even fathom or understand that statement. I was like, how is someone going to think they're Jesus Christ?
But we're so sheltered from that.
And maybe just because it's social media now. So there's this guy, and I watch him, and he cycles, man. And I've been friends with him for quite some time. I've never met the guy in person. It's just Facebook, but for some reason, whatever, I've connected with him to a point. So, but he thinks he's Jesus Christ, and he will fully acknowledge that, man. And it's like the cycle. He'll start thinking that, and he's probably, my thought, he's probably jacked up on some type of drugs or something. You know what I mean?
Because it sounds so crazy to you. It has to be drugs.
Exactly. I'm like, how is that even possible, man? And but the stuff that he says and the stuff, and he tries to trigger you, and he tries to bring out that. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's some, right there would be a flag to me. Like, dude, I don't see the fruit in that. You know what I mean? So,
right.
But at the same time, I'm like, man, and and at some points, like you get to those ones where I'll type out some stuff. Like I've had a couple times where I've typed some stuff out, and then I'm just like, nah, man, it's not. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, dude, yeah.
Like, why would I even engage in this? And like, you're not going to get nothing from it. In fact, I'll probably trigger you at the same time, and I just don't need to do that. And the words I have, it's just
hard to win sometimes, or feel like you're.
I don't even try to win. I'm just like,
dude. Yeah, I just definitely misphrased that. It's hard to feel like you're making any headway with people like that. You'd be better off just beating your head without a helmet on a brick wall that has spikes on it.
And what my take on it too was to tell him that like you're not Jesus. You know what I mean? I'm not going to just be like you're not Jesus. But I'm thinking that, but it was more like, dude, you are in a cycle right now that I've seen, in the last year or two, and then you ended up in a psych ward. You know what I mean? Like you are beginning this process, and I've seen you cycle. And this is towards the end of your cycle, where you're getting wrecked, and then you're going to get, you're going to be in a bad spot, and then you're going to have to work through all that, and then come back up where you were in a good spot. Yeah. You know how you work. You see those cycles.
Could you imagine the letdown of someone who truly believes they're Jesus Christ in the flesh, and then they meet him?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yes. And I was thinking, dude, I love how you took it there too, because these are thoughts I've had the last few days, probably the last week since we have our podcast. I'm sitting here and I'm sitting here thinking too, just like you said right there, like, you know what I mean? Like, eventually we're going to be standing at the seat of judgment, man.
Yeah.
Like eventually that's where we're going. And as you look at the state of the world right now, it appears that day is becoming closer and closer and closer.
Right.
And it's like, how are you going to feel or whatever? What are you going to do when you're not going to have no one to standing behind you? You're not going to have no one standing next to you. It's not going to be like, hey, well, he did this to me, or she did this to me, or, this, and this. You're not going to have nowhere to point. Yeah. But here, it's going to be you.
Your only advocate is the judge.
Yeah, and you're accountable to that. And the only way you get out from that judgment would be to accept Christ fully,
Yeah.
embrace that fully, and do so right now,
Yeah.
and not wait until by the time you're sitting at that
And live out
judgment,
a-
if Christ don't know you
Yeah.
at that point, I mean, you're beat, and then you're going to have to face the wrath of God, which that's fear. That brings out a fear
Yeah.
in me right there in itself to
Yeah.
a point.
The
I mean, I don't know, and that's probably a healthy fear, like you said.
I think it is probably a little bit healthy. I don't know.
I don't know,
I think
but
it's
you know,
strange for people that don't know anything about God, though. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for me, the healthy fear is there because I was born into a Christian home, or adopted into a Christian home, whatever. I would have been born into one also, but going to the private Christian school and being in church, it's all I know
yeah,
wholeheartedly. That, and I've tried other things. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't like full blown Satanist, and most of this stuff was loose Christianity. I was a Christian nationalist for a long time. That's tied to Arianism. But I truly believe that was correct. You know, I was easily influenced at that as a teenager. And now I hate to use the word hate, but that's sometimes I have a real hard time with Christian nationalism. And I don't know. I mean, how far it's gone since Pentecost and the building of the church. I would love. I mean, I seen a post that someone posted, and it kind of cracked me up a little bit. It was on Facebook, and it said, "If Paul was around today, we'd be getting a letter."
yeah.
Right now, there's
There'd be some
there's a
letters
lot of
going
working
around.
parts to this.
Yeah.
I agree. We would get a letter because we would get a letter. One might be saying "attaboy,"
Yeah.
and the other one might be saying, "Nah, you knuckleheads, don't make me come over there."
Yeah.
You know, don't make me come over there.
Well, well, Brian, have you ever sat at the table? Have you ever been in front of a judge before
Oh yeah,
and then had him just hammer down
yeah,
and take a year out of your 2-3 years out of your
Yeah.
life?
yeah.
Like, how did that feel?
Well,
You know what I mean? Like, imagine being at that. That's what
I was angry.
I could relate to that being on judgment. You know, you're standing at the judgment seat, and then you have to take that
Yeah.
judgment at that point.
Right.
Well, I've been there, man, and that sucks, dude. And then in that moment, it's just like you get wrecked. You get like that feeling that overwhelms you when it's like boom, and you're just like,
Your free will's been taken away.
right,
at that
right,
point.
and then you're just boom, you're toast.
I've never been to prison. I did 9 months in jail. That's the longest I've ever served consecutively. I was 20. I was 18 when I went to jail, and I was 19 when I got out.
And you're probably screaming for another chance, praying for another chance, man.
I was out 15 days and went back.
But so you've
saying.
never been in a spot sitting inside jail where you're just feeling like you just get, you know what I mean, like you're
Absolutely.
just that's what I mean.
The unknown was there because I was there for warrants for crimes that I had not been sentenced on yet.
Yeah, so you're just sitting there idle, man, and
So-
just praying and okay, so now take that to a whole nother level, and
Yeah.
once you're sitting at that table, or however that works on judgment, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the final call, man.
And even at that moment in time, I wasn't willing to accept responsibility for my actions.
Yeah, and again,
I
like I
thought
said
it was
earlier,
BS, you know,
you're
I'm
not
like-
going to have someone else. It is going to be just
Yeah.
you, man.
I was more upset that I got caught than anything. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
minding my P's and Q's to slide under the okay.
Yeah.
But
So you just wasn't ready. But anyway,
well, it did institute some change that was temporary for sure.
yeah.
That series of events kept me on corrections from the time I was 20 until I was 26.
Yeah. I don't know.
I caught more charges. I was sentenced to prison, suspended.
You're missing. I think
You
you're
know what
missing.
I mean?
Yeah, I think you're missing my point there. That I
Well,
was
I
trying
think
to make.
it's
man.
hard to have that if you haven't experienced it.
Yeah, I was just
You see
sitting there
what I'm
thinking of
saying?
like in those moments where you're just completely broken, you're done, and you're just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what have I done?
I experienced
You know
that
what I mean?
moment.
Like, what have I done here to myself? What have I done?
Yeah, I have experienced
know
that
it's
moment,
you,
but it
you
wasn't
know?
sitting in front of the gavel for sure.
Well, no, it's usually
Yeah.
it's usually at the gavel. You kind of get that feeling over, and then it just, then that
I
bleeds
can
off.
empathize with that because
Yeah.
I've seen it in others. I've had,
Yeah.
especially my little brother. He lost And I mean, by all rights, he should have. He was in trouble, but so he got caught manufacturing methamphetamines in the late 90s, and they were handing out 13-year prison sentences for that.
Yeah.
He got caught twice, once on bond for manufacturing. And so they took away a big portion of his life, and right up until the moment of that's your fate, he was in unbelief about it.
Yeah.
Right? He did not think that's what he thought he was going to get, like probation or something.
Yeah.
And they said they actually gave him 16 years.
Oh wow.
He didn't
so
serve
he
all
felt that for sure.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah, he felt what I'm talking about for sure. Then
And the look on his face. So he spent the majority of his life locked up. He's on his way back to prison now, more than likely.
Yeah.
But he has a healthy fear of it.
Yeah.
Because the last time he was there, I don't know. He's in with the Aryan Brotherhood, and they're really ticked off at him. But he was getting ready to go back, and he said, "If I go back, they'll kill me." And I've heard him say some stupid stuff, like whatever, but like he was real serious about it. And so I can empathize with the feeling of in that moment. But when that hits, if you're a believer, it's conviction and it's opportunity. I really struggle at work. I love what I do, but I struggle with people, and it's not the clients, it's the staff. And I so often think of this, what the book says, how to treat people. And I do treat them way better than I ever would respond in my life. I don't know. I used to be a real jerk. So I don't fight and argue if I can help it. I try to I don't cower down necessarily, but I just say okay and move on. But after doing that so long, then it's just become this thing of like I can't hardly even stand to be at work, even though I really am good at what I do, which is because in that aspect I feel like I'm following what God wants me to do. Yeah. So then now I got this, what I feel like is a personalized attack, somewhat directed at me by someone that I don't think is a believer. They don't express it, I don't really talk to them about it like that. And I think they're being used as a tool to attack me. Now, how do I respond to that? And I try to do it with kindness, but then it gets to a point where I just won't go to work, which is bad.
Yeah, that's not good, man. Yeah.
And then I have to sit in the conviction about it.
Especially if you believe that you're being moved, you know what I mean, accordingly.
I 100% do believe that, and even
you would have to hold
when I thought about quitting, you remember we had that conversation? Yeah. I was like, would everything that was done last September be undone? Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And so it's like, dang, dude, what do I? How? And it's not for, I have prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And, sometimes I feel directed to scripture and, I've tried different tactics. I'm at the end of my list with it, dude.
Yeah. You had to go back too, man. Like, I think, I don't know.
But it puts you in a weird spot.
Yeah.
And,
I tried. Yeah. I don't know, man.
I have to just keep showing up, dude.
Keep showing up. Keep moving, man.
Jocko says keep showing up because eventually you'll win just by showing up.
Yeah.
And if you're a light in darkness, eventually the darkness doesn't want to be around the light. And it's easy. Like the guys that are in treatment, the ones that steer clear of me, my discernment when I meet somebody and I put my eyes on them and have this short conversation with them, you get this feeling like when you're around somebody that's full of the Holy Spirit, you can feel it. When you're around somebody that's less than filled, you can feel it. And when someone's straight evil, you can feel it.
Oh, for sure you can.
You can feel it across the room and not even see them. Yeah. I've experienced it.
Oh yeah. You can.
But they respond to that also.
The airwaves, man.
They respond to that also. So if they won't get within 10 feet of me, I know something's up. Yeah. Because most of them are right up, how you doing, buddy? And shaking your hand or giving you hugs and stuff. And then you have this small group that's like, go out of their way to not be around you, And so I feel like that's that's part of the battle. I mean, it is part of the battle that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't know. Forgiveness and that, if just forgiving someone doesn't mean you have to allow them back into your life all the time.
Nah, see, the way I look
People
at that,
confuse that, I think.
man, the way I look at it too, like I will forgive for sure, but then also at the same time, like I'm still gonna love you, but also I'm gonna set boundaries, man.
Yeah.
Like that, all that I see there is like forgiveness is like everyone's like say, well, forgive but don't forget. Well, I'm gonna forgive you, but then at the same time, I'm gonna set up a boundary, man. And then it's just going to be a new boundary. And I don't know if you want to say that's forgetting or what, but I would just say.
I think in a way that's what allows you to forget that old whatever it is.
I would just put a boundary up, and then that's a boundary, and then you're going to have to work your way through. And then, if you get close to that boundary, I'm going to have to check you. And then, slowly you may work back into that where you can get past that. But I mean, until then, I mean, I set healthy boundaries, man, for sure. You got to have boundaries, man. You have to.
Yep.
And if you're truly loving, I mean, you're going to have some, and truly loving yourself is just the same. You're going to have boundaries, man.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about that on past shows too, man.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like boundaries are crucial, man. If you don't have boundaries, people are going to walk all over you. You're going to be, I would say you're not kind. You're nice, probably. You're a people pleaser. And your life's going to be wrecked, man. And you can't be a working force for God, I would say, in a true way, if you don't have those healthy boundaries,
and if
man.
you don't, you're allowing people to distract you from the mission.
You're going to be
Because you're wrapped up in all
manipulated.
that time.
Yeah, man. Like I'm gonna hold my ground, man.
Yeah.
Come on, step up. I'm gonna say something. You know what I mean, or however that works.
That's where my lack of. I'm not a big fan of confrontation because I don't always handle them well.
Yeah.
The old me confrontations, like I'm gonna do something hurtful physically, usually, or I'll call you the most terrible names in the book.
Yeah. See, yeah.
So I've grown out of that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, when I'm not instituting the healthy boundaries, I mean, as I sit here, I can think of times in the last 10 years, especially where that's happened. And it has caused me to falter in ways that it's kind of weird.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's like, I'll go back into old behavior.
Wrecked.
Sunday was a tough day for me in a few aspects. That was the closest, and I probably said this, and every time maybe it's a little closer, but that was where I really was like, I had this what's the point moment of, even in my recovery, I'm just like, I just can't understand how things go sometimes. And I'm such a critical, analytical thinker. Like I have to think about stuff. But yeah, it's just like driving home Sunday morning, I was just like, I don't even want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, like I really wanted to just come home, pack up, go back to Arkansas, hang out with my people down there that I love, that love me, and I'm protected well. Yeah. But really the answer is I don't know anybody except for my family. And I love them each individually so much, dude.
Yeah, and I think everybody has those, like, you know what I mean? I'm sitting here thinking, like, there's times where I go through, like, I guess there's seasons to everything, and I'll go through those times where I'm just like, why do I even do this every day? Like, why am I waking up and going to this job? Why am I working? Like, this is ridiculous. There's so much other things I could do, so much better things I could do. But then again, it's like I choose to do that. You know what I mean? And but it works. But at the same time, you know what I mean? I'm putting in good work, and like I said, you just keep showing up.
Yeah.
And eventually, you'll start stacking some W's until maybe another opportunity presents itself, and I just continue to stay disciplined. I still continue to stay in work. And then it's like, you come across those people, like we're saying, that begin to push up on those boundaries. And, anymore, like you said back then, I used to react a little bit differently, but anymore as I've grown, become more mature, you know what I mean? And got stronger myself. And I would say love myself even more so, and set those stronger boundaries. When they press on, it's not like I lash back at them and I don't get really mad. You know what I mean? I hold my ground, and then I also, at the same time, it's not like I'm passing judgment on those either. I just understand that that's where they're at in that time. That's where they are at. You know what I mean? They're not where I'm at.
It allows you to love them better.
Yeah, they're at where they're at. You know what I mean? And that's and I kind of think back and through my life, and I'm like, well, I didn't have it all together at that time, and I'd press up on some people, but it's like you have to have that understanding and compassion, I guess, at times, and but at the same time, that I'm not going to have that compassion as a weakness. You know what I mean? Where I'm gonna allow them to step up on me. I'm gonna hold that ground and push give a little pushback if necessary.
True compassion is such a strength.
Yeah, exactly, man.
And I think true compassion and passion paired with good discernment is unstoppable.
Oh yeah, dude, and even especially like I was to say,
because there's a lack of fear with that.
Yeah, and discernment is crucial right now. Like the stuff I hear from people saying, and like those like influencers that I'm listening to, I'm all like, man, and I see them slowly changing over time. I've been listening to these guys. And over time, they begin to change their message a little bit. Yeah. And then they become like almost degrading women to a point and even degrading themselves. I would see it as, man, I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, there's definitely an anti-feminism movement that's happening.
Dude, it is wild. And like they put themselves on such a pedestal. And I'm like, dude, if that is not ego, I don't know what is, man. Like... You know what I mean? And I would say a strength would be, I think that I'm looking at is more like humbleness. You know what I mean? And I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, I think some of that comes with the territory, especially if you're an influencer. You start and you have.
You got to keep it crazy, I imagine, to keep the likes going and the.
Well, yeah, because the triggers and the audience. There is that, and the algorithms. For that, probably. But some of it goes to your head. You watch pastors that are in local small churches, and then they get this word from the Lord that they're supposed to do something different, and they go and build these huge churches and just trash true ministry. They make it look good by appearance, you know what I mean? And people see it and they're like, oh man, he just built this church. They have 50,000 people across 7 campuses. And they went out and they fed the homeless and they did this and they did that. The underlying message is crappy.
Yeah.
A lot of them are you yourself are your own God, and you see that more and more the top Christian influencers it's crazy, but any influencer,
And at the same time, I don't know, man.
I follow a lot on YouTube. I mean, some of it I watch just to be able to respond to other people that are watching it because they'll come at me and be like, "Oh, this is what so and so said," and da 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 da. And so then my first thought is like, is that really what they said, or is that your interpretation of it? So I'll go watch it and be like, no, that is what he said. And then I have to go back to the people and be like, I think this dude's off a little bit, And sometimes people get real upset. I'm just saying, it happens.
For sure, man. I don't know. I just see us all moving in a bad direction. It seems, man.
There's an overarching of it for sure.
Yeah.
I don't get too. I mean, I love the. I don't know. I mean, you heard me a few weeks ago, especially with the politics, how upset it makes me. But
for sure, man. And
but it's everywhere.
Yeah,
you can't hardly get away from it.
Yeah, it is wild.
You're going to encounter it.
Yeah, it's just how you react to certain things, I suppose, man.
Oh yeah, I just know poorly when people hurt people.
I'm in good shape, man. I'm good. So that's where I'm at, man.
I have to look at that and have my gratitude for sure. But it does upset me when people hurt people purposefully.
Yeah.
And I've been there, I was that person, and I think coming out of that, which is a huge blessing, and then some people would say it's a miracle, probably. That's what Grandma would say. It made me value humanity so much more. And I feel so strongly about preservation of life, of human life. Yeah. I used to not care, honestly. I did not. I mean, it affected me very little. Alive or dead, my best friend,
Yeah.
I didn't have any value. When Zach died, I was almost kind of jealous of him because I was like, and it had nothing to do with where he was at. Afterlife, you know what I'm saying? It was just the fact of that he checked out of this life, and in an aspect of at that point in time, I was kind of jealous. I think it takes a lot to be able to do that. But and that's a whole nother whatever. But as life goes on, I have this choice every day. I could look through eyes of gratitude, or I could look through eyes of ungratefulness. I don't know what another word would be, but it becomes difficult to look through eyes of gratitude when all I'm putting in my mind is junk.
Oh, for sure, man. You gotta,
You know,
yeah, you gotta.
and even to do this, you know, like
or what you're speaking.
we were going to
to,
talk
man.
about the
What you're
Olympics,
speaking as well.
and so I dive into that and I read about it and read a bunch of articles on the left and right, and I watch a different bunch of podcasts on it, and then at the end of the day, I wasn't even really necessarily that upset because I just don't care about the Olympics.
The Olympics had me rolling this year, man.
Did you watch the breakdance one?
Yes, man.
What?
Dude, that was classic,
What?
man.
What is
Dude,
wrong?
I
Dude,
was like, wow, I could be
listen.
an Olympian, man, for sure, dude.
so now I subscribe to that lady's YouTube.
Oh, she probably blew up, man.
She scored a zero.
Yeah.
And the commentary of the people making fun of her. I mean, and maybe I shouldn't.
All I
find
could
it
see
funny.
was that, what was that? That In Living Color or Saturday Night Live from back in the day, Stewie. Look what I can do. You know what I mean? That's all I could see.
That's exactly right. And
all I
so
could see, man. Have me
as-
rolling.
and it's not like this. This lady's like 37,
Oh, it's so funny.
and she 100% is defending her position
Sure.
on what she was doing, but it wasn't traditional breakdancing.
Yeah, and I don't understand what she was doing really. I caught a little bit of that. I've read an article she had wrote, and I just scanned it.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite understand it because I'm like, you're at an Olympic level. I get what you're trying to do. I should say.
Do you understand
but
how
you
she
would-
got to be in the Olympics?
Yeah, she won that event. She won an event prior to that. They showed like a little clip I seen,
Right.
And that like gave her an in into the Olympics.
So she's like a college educated whatever, and she used that to leverage her position to even get that event to go on.
Yeah, to go to the treehouse.
And I didn't watch any other people from Australia try out because they picked her.
There was another guy that showed up for Australia, I thought, for the breakdancing, and he came with it pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, hopefully he scored at least a
But
one.
nobody's really getting no attention but her.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like
good doesn't get attention as much as
that's what I
bad
mean,
does.
yeah.
You know?
But, I mean, at that level, to me, if you're at that level, like you should probably not be in the Olympics. That's my take. Like if you're an Olympian, you should be like at the best of your game at that particular whatever
sorry,
you're doing.
But I don't think she's an Olympian.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you're an Olympian. To me, like if you're trying to get a point across, there's other ways to do that. There's other stages you can address that on besides the Olympic stage, man.
Did you see the
Because
articles
you're
on
the best of the best in what you do for your country at that, and that's what you're showing up. And,
Oh, yeah.
and obviously you missed it, man.
Yeah. Well,
That's
maybe
the
you
way I
shouldn't
look
even have
at it.
shown up at that point.
I
But
mean, I don't know.
did you see the
But,
articles?
hey, they put her there, so
did
whatever.
you see the articles on the target shooter, the pistol target shooter that
I like that guy. But he did good. He got second place, man.
never hardly shot a gun in his
A
life?
silver medal, man.
Picked one up like 34 something years old and realized he was good at it.
Yeah.
And then I think
He's
he's
the best
from
in the world, man.
From Turkey or something.
Yeah, Turkey.
But his backstory is amazing.
Oh yeah, but again though, he showed up and he showed out.
Yeah.
and then he
And he
did
didn't
what
even try to show off. Like
Yeah.
he was so indifferent. Like you know that picture of like the farmer and his wife where they just have the grumpy face?
For sure.
That was him the whole time. He's getting his medal. He looked the same as he
Dude.
did eating a cheese.
Oh,
I
that
mean,
guy had me rolling, dude.
I
I mean,
know.
with the hand in the pocket, just chilling and just knocking him down, man.
Can you imagine the people standing
you know-
around him that have been training and training and
Well,
training
they
to
have
just
all
get
those little
beat
goggle
by
gears.
a random guy?
Guy standing all weird, got his hip checked out, little tongue to the side, holding just right, and then pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
And then this guy just walks up, pulls his gun out, got the hand in the pocket, all
Yeah.
nonchalantly, just rocking the target,
Team.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize it was airsoft 'Cause I didn't even know that was a competition in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Then I thought it was a real gun. And then all of a sudden it's airsoft.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is just wild. They have airsoft competitions, man.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a high powered airsoft, but
yeah.
um,
Probably I don't know what that would compare to. Maybe
yeah.
a 22 or something. I don't know.
oh, somewhat probably close. I don't know, but yeah.
But have you ever shot an airsoft, dude? those things are hard to get accurate, man.
So back in the day, my buddy had I think it was a 22 caliber air rifle.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because, like there's ones you can like pump them up.
Yeah.
This was one pump. And it'd do some damage.
Yeah.
You could get different little slugs for it,
And how far were they shooting out? I've never even seen that.
I watched hardly any of the Olympics other than highlights.
I like the diving. I like watching the diving. Man.
Yeah, dude.
That's totally impressive. I do like the diving. And I like the sprints.
Well, of course you like the runners.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Speaking of runners, I seen another guy. He was getting some grief, and I don't necessarily agree with this one. I was kind of like, man, he's kind of getting a bad card because they're like, I don't know what they were saying about him. It was a gentleman. I can't remember what country he was, but it's for hurdles. So they line up. They take off, and you can tell this he's athletic, man. You can just tell from his build and just how he moved. And he just had a bad go, man.
Yeah.
The gun went off for the hurdles. He goes, dude, he slams right into the first hurdle, man. Just, he just didn't get his jump right.
Yeah.
Dude slams right in that hurdle, wraps up into it, just pretzels him up, man. And everyone's flying.
I saw the picture of that.
Yeah,
actually.
and the dude is just pretzeled up. But, he stood up. I mean, he could have just dropped out there because I bet he was jacked up. But he stood up, and then he ran the rest of it out. Yeah. But, I mean, and they were kind of talking smack on him. Yeah. I'm like, well, man, he had a bad go, man. Yeah. That happens. You know what I mean? That happens. And I wouldn't say he wasn't good enough not to be there. I mean, he was good enough to be there.
Obviously.
He just had a bad start on that first hurdle, and it got him, man. Got in his head too much, man. Smoked him.
Yeah. If it's the story I'm thinking of, like, this dude is world renowned, basically. I mean, he's won lots and lots of stuff.
Yeah, solid athlete, man. And he just missed that first hurdle, and then
Did you read
everyone tried to light him up, and I was kind of like, I don't agree with that, man, because that guy just had a bad start, man. Missed that first hurdle, and I mean, if you're at that level, I mean, I guess he did pretzel up real bad. It's not like he just nicked it, man.
No, he was like wrapped up in it. It looked like a cartoon.
Yeah.
My first thought was like, it kind of reminded me of Family Guy when Peter Griffin would fall down the stairs and his legs up by his head and stuff, because he was all twisted up.
Got smoked, man.
I think the Olympics are over finally.
Are they?
I have no idea. That's how little attention I paid.
And volleyball, dude. I was having fun watching volleyball.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Volleyball was pretty fun. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Those guys get crazy at that volleyball, man. Like as high as those guys jump and move,
dude.
And as fast as they go, dude, it is insane.
It's not like college or high school. I mean, this is
a whole nother level.
a whole different level.
Yeah.
So weirdly enough, I watched a lot of commentary on the synchronized swimming.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I caught some glimpses of that too. Just I do little takes of it.
And so I watched 2 or 3 different countries. And before they come out, they already have their routine and they give it a difficulty rating. And this, bar none, if you're in the Olympics, besides being a breakdancer from Australia, there's something special about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many world records were broken at this Olympics. I'd have to do some research, and I don't know. My computer's not showing that it's even online right now, but Simone Biles, I mean, who every Olympics just amazes people, came out and pulled some weird, whatever it was called, it was like the first time ever anybody's done this certain trick in gymnastics, won all these medals and stuff, and you hear more about the crummy breakdancer than you do girls.
Oh, I know, man. Yeah.
And that's just such a sad state.
Almost like, exactly.
She's overlooked a lot.
Yeah, she's taking the spotlight away from those who deserve that.
But
or work so hard for it.
Truly
I don't know about deserving it.
Amazed at the capability of human.
Oh, dude, they're insane, man. Like we'll go back to that synchronizing swimming or the synchronizing swim.
Yeah.
Like those those ladies, I don't know if dudes do it or not. I didn't see none of that, but I
There
seen
was
the ladies.
one guy in
Was
one I
there?
did see. Yeah,
I was
he
gonna say
looked
ladies,
so
so I don't
out of
know.
place with
Oh,
all
I
the pretty
bet.
girls.
But dude, have you like? I was just catching like little glimpses of them. But dude, to do what they do and go underwater, I was like, man, next time I'm swimming, I'm just gonna try that because I've never really tried nothing like that.
Yeah.
And just to see exactly how hard that is, but that has to be almost impossible because they're like underwater, head down, doing like just crazy stuff with their legs. Doing, I mean, just
Synchronized with eight
and
or
all
10
of
other
them all at
people.
the same time, man. That to me, that's unreal.
No, it is.
Like a whole nother level, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the athletes, man. I mean, hats off to them, dude. I mean, humans can do such amazing things, man.
Organizers, not so much.
For sure, man. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Anyways,
Slowly but surely, it makes me feel like a temporary passenger even more.
yeah, it does, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how much work? Just man, when I see those athletes, like that, like how much work. I mean, they put into that, man. The dedication,
Yeah.
the sweat, the blood, the pain, the hurt, the struggles, man, the suffering,
Sacrifice.
the sacrifice, dude. I mean, what you have to put in to get to that level.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them probably have, genetic, it just comes a little
yeah.
better, but
Yeah.
still, I don't care. They're putting mad work in. Unless
Still
you're the
have
guy
to develop that.
unless you're the guy from Turkey that's shooting the gun. I don't know. But I still bet he has to work a little bit, man, at it.
So, and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like part of his backstory was that he was recently divorced.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He
Oh,
probably
yeah.
might just picture his ex-wife up there.
Yeah, for real, though.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. He's just rocking 2,000 rounds at that thing every day.
He just wanted to do it to be like, look at me now.
Yeah.
I'm an Olympic silver medalist. And you ain't with me. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
who
just
knows,
me
man?
funny,
That's
but
hilarious, though.
yeah,
Anyway.
it is easy to get off. It is, it's easy to get our lives off kilter as it is for us to get off topic here, I
Yeah,
think.
most definitely.
And there's some truth to that. But
Exactly.
all in all, dude, I had a good day today.
Yeah.
I hope you had a good day.
Oh, dude, it's
I hope,
always good, Ryan.
I hope our
always
11
good.
people that watch us had a good day.
Yeah, for real, though. It's going to get better. It's going to get better, man.
I don't think it could get worse.
I'm getting better every day in
You
every
know?
way, man. That's for sure.
I love even through the difficulties, I still love life.
Yeah.
And I enjoy watching people succeed in lots of different fashions. And if that ever goes away, I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah, I love seeing W's, man.
Yeah.
I do, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I love it when people collect that. And I like to pray for people to have that. I really do. And man, I mean, I don't know. I said a lot. Like, I'm so overblessed in that aspect to be able to be a part of what I'm a part of and just to just do and do it without expectation. Whereas years ago, I mean, everything I did had an expectation.
Yeah, expectation, the killer of joy.
Yeah, it is the builder of resentments.
Yeah, ooh, that's a good
So,
one,
yeah.
too. The builder of resentments. That's a good one,
I
Ryan.
found this book, Prayers That Are Different.
Oh, yeah. It's got a little dust on it, too, man.
Yeah. I don't even know where it came from. It was in a box. They have prayers for everything. Winter blessing.
Winter blessing.
Maybe I should vet this.
Ooh, I like
before
that
just-
unity one.
Before I just start.
Do the unity prayer, man.
All right.
I don't know that I like it. I've never heard it. Just unity sounded good.
Prayers that are different.
Man, just wing it. Do the unity
Just
one,
wing
Ryan.
it.
Yeah, just read it.
All
First
right.
time. First time ever.
Till we all attain unto the unity of faith. Ephesians 4:13. Hear the confessions of thy church, O Lord, that we are divided into so many sects instead of being one as the Savior prayed. We are acting under the false stimulus of exclusive group ambition instead of that perfect love towards other and you, which Jesus commanded. Prejudice, hatred, and fear have displaced the primitive apostolic elements of understanding, sympathy, and cooperation. Give us a deep and reverent anxiety that prejudice shall melt away, That tradition shall be shorn of its power, and that moral nearsightedness shall be displaced by a universal vision of the common inner objectives of unrelated movements in the Christian world. Bestow upon us that humility which conditions all reception of truth and all possibility of growth. As the survival values of the church are being so searchingly examined, give us the judgment of the Spirit that we may continue to approve only that which is excellent. Hasten the day, we beseech thee, of universal Christian harmony, and if it be thy will, may we finally attain in thy good pleasure to organic Christian unity.
May we obtain.
Organic.
I like that.
Jesus' name. Amen.
I like that one. May we obtain
Unity.
unity
I
of
love
his
that.
will, excellence.
I do.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was a
Not
good
terrible.
one.
I might take that upstairs and do some
Pretty good
research
one.
on that. I love you, brother.
Love you too,
We
man.
love you guys.
Love, shalom.
We'll see you soon.